Hello friends, this is Avinash Gorakshakar and welcome to the Konexio sector outlook. Friends, today we'll be discussing outlook on the fintech industry, and we are going to interview a prominent company from the fintech space. In fact, it is a company which is into a lot of interesting activities in the payment gateway as well as in the billing gateway as well as on the app space. And most importantly, this company is going to go public in the next few months. We are going to introduce a very young entrepreneur by the name of Mr. Deepak Chand Thakur, and who's the chairman and managing director of Network People Services Technologies Limited. So, without wasting time, let us start on the topic, which I feel is very interesting and which will add a lot of value for our, all of you, as well as, it will give you an insight of how the fintech industry works. So, welcome to the show, Deepak ji.
Thank you so much for inviting us, sir. And it's a great honor to be here. So, I think, like you rightly mentioned, fintech is in a very disruptive position right now in the country, not just country but even globally. And it really carries a lot of value. How it gets adopted and how countries actually shape around the policies.
Okay, Deepak ji, tell us something about your thought process on what is actually happening in the UPI space. We have been hearing that UPI payments have actually crossed credit cards and debit cards payments. So, first of all, tell us what is actually happening as of now in the UPI space, and then what is your thought process over the next, say, 2 to 3 years? How do you see this business opportunity growing for the industry in general, and really how is your company planning to capitalize this opportunity?
Sure. See, the thing is, if at all we consider digital payment as a growth vehicle, if we consider that as a growth vehicle for a country, UPI today will be the front wheels of that vehicle. It is that beautiful in nature. So the thing is, UPI has actually changed the definition of interoperable transactions in the country. Earlier, in order to be interoperable in nature, everyone needed payment gateway. You really need all the bank accounts to be into a single platform, and that platform should be accessible to customers via some or the other mean, and that is where you had a payment gateway in place. But now UPI allows you to transact in any bank account irrespective you're holding any third party application, and that is the nature of the this nature of the product allows UPI to be one of the most important and the most disruptive technology as of now. So let us look at the transaction statistics. October 2019, UPI was about 1 billion transaction a month. October 2020, it was 2 billion transactions a month. 2-3 years down the line, this volume is expected to be around 1 billion per day. And one of the biggest reasons for such a huge jump is not just because the nature of the product allows you to replace transactions around POS terminal, transactions around card payments, transaction around mobile banking, internet banking, but it also has a lot of new use cases which is coming in future around auto payments, recurring payments, scheduled solutions. So all of these solutions are going to ensure that the utilization of UPI is going to increase manyfold, and at the same time, the nature of the product is going to add more and more solutions as and when we go ahead. So you see that UPI is already being adopted by the market for IPO. That is one example. And the moment we have new use cases coming in, we will see a lot of such merchant categories where still transactions are manual in nature, or transactions are semi-manual in nature, where check-based transactions are happening. UPI is indeed going to replace those modes of transactions also. So while all Yes.
I think Deepak ji, one understanding which I got from your company is that you follow a microservice kind of approach, a model to basically scale up your
Yeah.
business. Now, tell me
Yeah.
one thing. This is very useful for you because I have some friends in the industry who told me that this is a very unique feature which this company is offering, and that will help the company grow significantly in terms of scalability. But tell me one thing that in this industry, what is the differentiation you have with other companies and how difficult it is for other competitors to copy your business model? You know that in this industry or any industry, whenever something new is found, most competitors get attracted and people try to copy some other company. Of course, you have your own unique strengths, but in what aspect you are different from others and how do you think you will be able to retain your competitive advantage?
Rightly pointed out, sir. So let me understand that when we are talking about microservices, we are talking about breaking all the solutions into small pieces and making it available for any merchant category. So the solution that we have built is not very generic in nature. I mean, it's not a solution which is very generic and can be copied across every platform, but it has smaller sections and the capability to have a much larger piece in the market. So what we have done is, for last 6 years we have been working in payment space. We have large scale banks using our platform. We are doing nothing less than 7 to 8 million daily transactions, financial transactions on our platform. We are managing nothing less than 7 million customers on this payment switch. So this payment switch allows our customers to scale rapidly. So it can be scaled overnight. And the best part is this 5 6 years of experience has given us much more futuristic value, which is not that easy to copy, because we are not creating a product which is simple in nature, but we have created a processing engine. It's a payment solution. So while other competitors, when they will start looking at this solution, they will start looking at this market. When they will start at level 1, we will already be sitting at level 4 and 5. We are not just working on the existing technologies and existing requirements, but we are also working on the solutions which will be required 3 to 4 years down the line. The nature of the requirements which is expected to come around intelligence driven platform, around financial risk management solutions, around the categories which are completely excluded out of digital payments. These are the
Okay.
areas where we are working based on the 5 years of experience we have with the payment processing engine. So that is what we foresee. And we are right at the stage where we are able to take this advantage. We have launched this solution not just for banks. We have taken this solution little ahead, and we have now started adding merchants to our solution. Open banking is another piece which has come to our platform. At the very same time, payments as not just as a solution to collect, but also the entire financial value chain, where the payment piece, along with invoicing, receipt, book of accounts, reconciliation, all the industry challenge around the financial value chain, that is absorbed in our product. So that's the scalability we are talking.
Okay. Fine, Deepak ji. Deepak ji, now tell me one thing that in every business there is a competitive moat, which helps you build a strong competitive advantage compared to others. Now you said that you have built, services kind of pockets for various verticals, and you have done this for the last 6 years. Now tell me one thing from a financial perspective. Will you be burning a lot of cash on new kind of software which you develop, or is it going to basically be the IPO money which you're going to raise? Is it going to actually meant for maybe buying out some technologies or taking some more people on board? Because this money which you're going to raise from the IPO, basically we want to understand how is it going to be utilized. Is it going to be completely one is for the working capital part, and secondly, will some cash get burnt out? Because typically in such fintech companies, the success rate is not very high. And secondly, in very simple words, if I were to ask you, what is it what is the competitive moat? Like, mostly, for manufacturing companies, we look at basically the entry barrier, the capital cost. So in your case, is it the IP which you have developed for these solutions, or is it something else which can?
See, the thing is, let us understand. When I talk about my business model, let me clarify that we exist in this industry for last 6 years. We have built payment solution, and now we are at the next stage wherein beyond payment solution. The moment I give you statistics like 1 billion daily transactions, or when I give you the over reliance of customers and the country on the digital payment ecosystem, then let us understand that the overall ecosystem demands much more beyond just the processing engine. The demand will be around auto monitoring, the demand will be around the risk management, the demand will be around how efficiently we can use the overall software and hardware of, how efficiently we can create the entire solution. Beyond that, every single second delay or every single second of downtime impacts industry tremendously. How exactly? So these are tremendous demands which is asking us to create much more bigger and better solutions in the industry, not just around payment, not just payment engine, but also a lot of pieces and a lot of solutions beyond payment. So that is purely the software revenue that we are going to earn. So it is so we our PNL is already built. We are already making money from this particular business, and with the growth in the industry, with the growth prospect, we are expecting that there are a lot of huge demands coming in from the existing customer and the new customers from the banking industry, financial industry, and merchant industry, where we will ultimately be generating revenue. Let us come to the second piece, and the most important growth factor for us is the third party application which we have built over last 3 years. Over last 3 years, as an organization policy, we have stayed bootstrapped. We ensured that the compliances, all the requirement around arriving in market and scaling it to a level wherein we reach at a stage of IPO. That was entirely by us as an organization's operating profit and how we can do it. So we took 3 years to be where we are right now. So whatever burn and whatever development, whatever challenges around setting up the right product and setting up the right market segment, that has already been covered by our company. Now, when it comes to the usage of the IPO fund, let me make it very clear that NPST is not into B2C domain as such. So it takes around the acquisition of C customers, that I mean B2C domain. We are purely into B2B segment, wherein the acquisition of merchants are important for us, and that is where we generate revenue, because merchants pay for the growth in their business, and that is what we have been doing. We not only look at the merchant, but we also have our 5 to 6 years of relations with our banks and the corporate entities, and that is what is building our order book. Customers, and basis these order books, we execute the digital solution. So for me, merchant acquisition is not where I'm burning the cost for cold call or burning the cost to reach out to merchant and spending into his business. But our cost is about servicing the existing order book that we have. So that is where we are going to begin. We already have an order book of 40,000 plus merchants to whom we have to reach out and provide the digital payment solution. Beyond that, as and when we add more and more corporate customers, as and when we have bigger reach, the reference will start playing a huge role, and that will actually add more and more customer base to our business.
Very well mentioned and very well explained by you. Now, tell me one. thing that as far as your company is concerned, I wanted to know what is the risk management systems at NPST, because all these apps which we hear, there is a huge scope for some fraudulent practices also. So if you can tell us, what is the kind of risk management process at your place, and assuming there is some fraudulent transaction which takes place, then what is the risk mitigation process which is actually undertaken by your company? यानी अगर कोई रिस्क, कोई फ्रॉड आपके ऐप पे होता है, मान लीजिए कोई फ्रॉडुलेंट ट्रांजैक्शन होता है, तो उसमें रिस्क मैनेजमेंट प्रोसेस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से एनपीएसटी ने कैसे तैयारी की है?
Sure. So let me first explain one transaction flow. So we first of all will be a facilitator for transacting between two banks. So the money is between two banks, not in our system. So we are not allowed to hold any funds. We are not allowed to, retain any financial data. The entire transaction will be between a remitter bank and the beneficiary bank. So this is the solution which will allow users to transact on our platform in their bank account. So this is the transaction model. It may be between peer-to-peer, or it may be peer-to-merchant. In this case, the risk factor around holding money, or risk around getting into those accounts, that is extremely low. One is that. So we are not the holders of money. Yes. Client with the payment. So we will not be allowed to launch the application if solution for their application requirement, which is as per the banking norms. So there are certain regulatory guidelines by RBI.
Okay. Deepak, just one. Yeah, Deepak, sorry to interrupt, but just one small clarification. I think you can clear it for all of us. That since you say that you are a facilitator and you don't actually collect money, for the bank, it is basically a facilitating platform between two banks. That is what our company does. So it means you all have not paid any kind of non-compliance kind of damages so far. So nothing of that sort has been done by you at all. So it is basically out of your ambit completely. Is it right?
Correct. So we have not. There is no such damage claim. There is nothing which has come to our kitty as of now. So
okay.
So let me make it very clear that the solution is a PSP model, which is called as Payment Service Provider model, and we are facilitating the both the transactions. The damage claim obviously is a much bigger picture. So let's say if there is any issue with the transaction, we reach out to banks and we ask them whether this fund has been received by you or not. Or let's say if the transaction is stuck for like 2 days or 3 days, then we reach out to reconciliation, asking them whether there has been a reconciliation or not. So that is how the overall solution works. But at the very same time, it is very important that my system is completely protected of malicious. Not allow any entry point for fraudulent or such activities. In that case, our solution follows all the compliances as laid down by under the banking norms as per the NPCI guidelines. They clearly state that you should have a thorough certification of your server, thorough certification of your data localization policies. There has to be certification around the encryption of your application. There has to be certification around the overall application performance, overall application security. So there are a lot of certifications which are very clearly defined by this by the guidelines of NPCI, and also as per our sponsor bank. So only and only if we are able to go through it and we have a third party certification in place, we will be allowed to launch our application. If we are not able to do that, our application will not be in market. So this ensures that we follow all the compliances and customers are safe transacting on our solution.
Clarification, as I understand, from what you told me now, basically any fraud related activity is going to be handled by the bank itself. So it doesn't come under your ambit at all, right? Suppose there's a fraud, because we hear sometimes, in a lot of PSU companies, frauds have happened either manually or online. So any fraud if the bank, right? It doesn't come under your ambit at all.
So no, so let me make it clear. The funds are not in my account or in my software. Funds are in
So
bank accounts.
bank account. Okay.
So wherever there are frauds very specific to those use cases, it will be in the bank. My application is the entry point, so I have to ensure
Okay.
that my application is secured in nature, and that security we
Exactly.
follow compliances as laid down by the banking norm. So वो हमें
Okay.
ensure
Okay.
करना है.
Okay. Anyway, Deepak ji, nice talking to you, and congratulations and best wishes for your IPO. Definitely, we look forward to working with you in future also, and I think best wishes for your entire team also. So thank you very much, and friends, I think all of you must have also gained from the knowledge and the inputs from Mr. Deepak. So I think we'll meet sometime later, but thank you very much and goodbye.